Welcome back to The Explainer. So today we're diving into something you probably do every single day without a second thought, but it actually reveals a whole lot about who you are. We're going to explore the really fascinating connection between the cars we choose to drive and the personal philosophies we actually live by.
Take a listen to this brilliant quote by the poet Chengde Chen. He says, "A driver must be an all-round philosopher. Starting, accelerating, turning are his defining, judging, inferring." It's such a great way to frame it, right? Because driving isn't just getting from point A to point B, it's literally a daily physical manifestation of our worldview. Every time you hit the brakes, every single time you merge into traffic, you're basically putting your personal philosophy into action.
So, I've got a question for you right up front. What does your car say about your philosophy? Are you a humanist, out there carefully protecting the people around you? Maybe you're a pragmatist, just looking for the absolute most efficient tool for the job? Or does your driving reflect what Chen poetically calls a self-centered egoist made of iron and steel? Just kind of keep those perspectives in the back of your mind as we start looking at the actual numbers.
Section 1. The Giant EV Trend.
All right, let's look at the current electric vehicle market. It's the core of the modern green revolution, and it tells us exactly what our collective philosophy is right now. Honestly, it's wild to look at the sheer scale of the vehicles we're choosing. You'd probably think an electric revolution means these sleek, highly efficient, compact cars zipping around, right? Well, the surprising reality is that in 2023, 67%, literally two-thirds of all battery electric models on the major markets were SUVs, pickups, and massive cars. As a society, we are totally leaning into this bigger is always better approach.
And when you break it down by region, it gets even more interesting. In the United States, a mere 25% of battery electric vehicles sold are actually small or medium. But look across the globe over to China, and that number jumps up to 50%. So yeah, the trend towards building giant vehicles is definitely global, but this cultural appetite for immense scale, it's extremely pronounced in Western markets right now.
Section 2. Hidden costs of going big.
Okay, so if we're building everything bigger, what's the catch? Let's bring this back to Chan's poem and that idea of the self-centered egoist made of iron and steel. Well, that steel, or in the case of modern EVs, stuff like lithium and cobalt, it comes at a pretty high price. Large EVs use up to 20% more energy than the smaller ones. Plus, they need significantly more critical minerals just to produce those massive battery packs. It's not just innocent consumer preference anymore. These giant vehicles put a real physical strain on our energy grids. Because they demand so many resources, they're actually making it harder to have a fair, inclusive global transition to renewable energy. But hey, the hidden cost isn't just environmental, it is literally right out there on our streets. The data shows that larger vehicles increase the risk of fatal pedestrian accidents by a staggering 45% compared to smaller cars. When you're in a dense city, choosing to drive a massive SUV becomes a philosophical choice that directly and profoundly impacts the physical safety of everyone walking or cycling near you.
And you know, it all boils down to simple physics. Adding just 300 kilograms to a vehicle pumps up the risk of a fatal injury for vulnerable road users by 30%. Because electric vehicles need those incredibly heavy battery packs to get long ranges, large electric SUVs are just astronomically massive. That gives them way higher overall weight, and typically these taller, flatter front ends. Put those two things together, and they directly threaten cyclists, motorcyclists, and pedestrians if a collision happens.
Section 3. The Pragmatist City Car.
To get a totally different perspective, the pragmatist approach, let's look at a fantastic essay by an Italian driver living near Milan. He wrote about getting caught in this massive, violent hailstorm on the city's ring road. Now, while everyone else was probably wishing they were inside a giant armored luxury SUV to feel safe, he was totally unbothered, just laughing in his tiny electric city car. He writes, "Spending to appear never interested me. Leasing, loans, cars with guaranteed future value, they're not my style." He just actively rejects the whole status game of a premium car. Instead, he goes for this modest, unpretentious lifestyle where he gets to be the strong one, rather than relying on a heavy piece of machinery to project that strength. And honestly, the practical benefits he gets from this are super compelling. His small EV is incredibly easy to park in Milan's infamously tight spaces. It's highly economical, and if that hail did happen to smash up his roof, the repairs are insanely cheap compared to fixing a luxury SUV. On top of all that, he can park it in risky or crowded neighborhoods and just not worry about it. It does exactly what it needs to do, get him around safely, without acting as this oversized status symbol. Now I hear you. You might be thinking, okay, but what about range anxiety? I absolutely need a big car for those long road trips. Well, the data shows the pragmatist actually wins this argument too. Get this, the average daily travel distance per person in Europe is just 12.4 kilometers. That's it. Most of us are out here buying these behemoth cars built for cross-country expeditions just to drive a few kilometers to the office or grab some groceries.
Even the absolute smallest electric compact family cars you can buy right now typically give you a minimum driving range of 135 kilometers. That covers your daily 12 kilometers 10 times over, with room to spare. And for that rare, maybe once-a-year epic road trip, our Italian pragmatist has a beautifully simple solution. He just rents a bigger car for a few days. By doing that, he completely dodges the daily financial, spatial, and environmental headaches of dragging a giant vehicle around for the other 360 days of the year.
Section 4. Designing our cities.
So we've got these vastly different philosophies at play. Let's zoom out from individual choices to the macro level and see how this shifts our collective urban spaces. Governments are definitely starting to wake up and realize they need to step in and actively curb this big car trend. France and Norway, they've already introduced specific weight-based taxes, so you actually pay a financial penalty for heavier vehicles. Paris made huge international headlines recently by literally tripling parking fees specifically for heavy SUVs to keep them out of the city center. And over 320 cities across the EU have set up low-emission zones. Basically, smart public policies are structurally favoring smaller, way more efficient electric vehicles to make sure our cities stay livable.
But here is the absolutely crucial point we've got to remember as we look toward the future of urban design. Small EVs are without a doubt a better choice than massive SUVs. But they aren't a magical silver bullet. They have to complement, not replace, our broader efforts to reduce overall car reliance. To get to true sustainability and really fix urban congestion, cities still desperately need to shift towards prioritizing excellent public transport, great cycling infrastructure, and really safe walking paths.
Section 5. Your choice, our future. So why does any of this matter for you and your local community? Well, it's simple. The vehicles we buy dictate the streets we live on. Ultimately, the big question we're all facing is whether our cities will cater to what the poet called giant steel egos or to humanists. Your next vehicle choice isn't just about what fits nicely in your garage. It's a profound philosophical statement, one that directly shapes the safety, the environment, and really, the very soul of our cities.
Thank you so much for listening and learning with us today. I really hope you found this explainer as fascinating as I did. Keep learning, keep asking questions, and we'll see you next time.